So like right here, they put in a wall.
A little retaining wall
Yeah.
right there.
And then that turned into like a little entryway up into the church. Like if you like the picture earlier with me and Dad standing up there, that was like the start of it.
So there'll be, right here, there'll be a set of stairs eventually down. Once they take this out, they'll make a set of stairs down to the street.
Yeah. And that's another picture of it. And then that's all of us just kind of standing around. I think that's the end of the day where we're getting ready to pack up and go. And we were just talking about, that was the first day, I think. And then there's me sipping sand again. And then right here, this is, later on, this is like the third day, maybe, second or third day. And they got me helping with the blocks and that stuff. So right now I'm just like straightening it up because we want the wall to look really neat and tidy because it would be a while before they get the stucco, the stucco put on it. So we had to make it look good until they could do that. So yeah, so they just kept building up and then we'd clean it up. Later on I actually got to lay the block, but so here, yeah, we're still cleaning it. And then that's them finishing up.
They had
They had to finish up the top part of it there, and so they had to like bend the roof back a little bit so they could finish that part. And there wasn't a lot of work to do at my church, but there was just like the top peaks there. And then you can see that part of the roof there they had to finish. And then that wall there, on the other side of that wall, they were going to have a children's classroom because they didn't have one before. So for the children to have like their own little place instead of just doing it in the front corner of the church, they decided to have a wall there for them. And there's another picture of it. And then here,
this was Zoe's fan club here. There was like 6 or 7 young guys, probably 20, 21, 22. And Paul, a friend of ours, he could speak Spanish, so he understood what they was saying. And they devised a plan that the 6 of them, one would be the leader, and he would try to get Zoe for a girlfriend, and if he failed, the next guy would move up the rank until they went through the 6 guys.
So that was, yeah, I didn't understand it, but but what I was gonna explain is that right here, there, see that big post I'm holding? We had to tie on all those different rods so that way we could put the next set of blocks on it. And then after that, we had to like, they were handing me things like pipes full of cement, then you had to pour it down in the holes, that way it'd fill in the wall, so that way it wasn't just a huge hollow wall, so to strengthen it some. And that's on Sabbath again in front of the church.
You can see they got the wall built up there and out here, so they're ready to build a set of stairs down to the roadway there.
And then you can also see the sidewalk that they have there, so they poured that. And then the like land around it or whatever, like there was the part like this slope right here that was really uneven. Lots of people like fell down that with wheelbarrows and everything. So we had to do a little bit of landscaping, so we filled in different parts. And then this whole walkway up along here, that was really uneven too, so we had to like take a bunch of wheelbarrows of dirt and then just basically rake it and then walk on it a bunch and then rake it some more and until it got all flat. So that's us in front of the church again. So see how tan we were? It was so nice there. So yeah, there wasn't a lot of construction pictures with our church, but because most of us make people. So this here is the that's the medical clinic. Okay, so like besides what we did, besides the construction part. Oh wait, there's something I want to say about my construction site too. Dad was talking about how they had that memory verse that Dad said earlier for their construction site. And for my construction site, they had, like, something that we brought up a lot was the Ecclesiastes 9:10, and that says, whatever your hand finds to do, do with all thy might. And I think that was what everybody did there, even though they were from a bunch of different professions. Like, whatever job they were given, they always tried their hardest to do the best that they could at that job. So that was something that quite a few people would talk about, like at lunch or whenever we were together, just hanging out type thing. That was something that came up a lot. So yeah, back to medical clinic. I don't know exactly what they're doing here because we didn't do the medical clinic or the VBS program.
I think this was just kind of a line for registration for people to
Oh,
go to
okay.
the medical clinic, and it was a dental clinic too.
And so you can see they have glasses lined up over
Yeah,
there.
see, they have all different glasses,
Prescription
whatever
glasses.
prescription, like 1.25, 1.50, whatever, because the people there might not have glasses, so they just maybe bought a bunch of dollar store glasses or whatever and put them there. And the people would check them out, whichever ones worked for them, they got a pair of glasses and went on their way.
Yeah, and there's a closer picture of all of them. So like they have them set up in their boxes so extras can be there. And then here's some more medical supplies, and I think those are just some of the locals coming in and looking at it.
Now this is the medical clinic. You can see here a clearer picture of the barbed wire around all of the buildings and stuff, and like it's that razor barbed wire, and so it's pretty hard to get into a place without getting beat up pretty bad. So, and that was a lot of places had that razor barbed wire.
And if the people couldn't afford the barbed wire, they would break glass bottles and use all the sharp pieces and put them around like the edges of their balconies or the edges of their homes and that kind of stuff because they didn't want people breaking in. Because the crime there is really, really bad.
The orphanage we went to, that's what they had around, so people couldn't get in there. They had bottles all around the top of the roof, so if somebody goes in there, you gotta go through a bunch of glass to get in there.
So here's dental stuff at the medical clinic. There's some more. And then here's a picture of like a lot of the medical supplies that they had out to, I don't know, give away or use on people.
Yeah, because as a part of our contribution to the project, I had to take something that was like some kind of a medication for males, and Zoe had to take something for females, whether it was prenatal medication or whatever. And every person that came had to give that because they would give them out to people that came in for the medical clinics.
Yeah. Oh, there's another picture of it.
This here, I was telling Dad when I got back, you see 3 people on this little motorbike here, and I got a better picture of the motorbike. You can see how long it is. Well, one day when we was going to work, we saw a motorbike that size with 5 people on it. There was the guy driving, there was a kid in front of him, there was a child behind him, there was his wife, and then there was a child behind them. There was 5 of them on the seat of that little motorbike going on.
And all the motorbikes there were about that same size, and
Yeah.
everybody was like zooming in and out. Like they would have only 2 lanes for cars to go by, but they turned into 3. Like
Oh yeah, the traffic
it
was,
was just like this. Like they
Wild,
were
yeah.
touching each other.
but like she said, the motorbikes, they would, like here, when you're in the traffic lane of motorbike, you stay in your traffic lane. They didn't there. Once you stopped and you couldn't go any further, they still could fit between cars, so they would keep on going.
Yeah.
This was the VBS, and they had 2 VBS programs, one at the church where I was working and one elsewhere. And they had over 100 community kids come every day for the VBS programs. They had like 115, 120 kids that weren't church members come to the VBS programs every day. There's a picture of the church I work at. You can see the barbed wire, razor barbed wire there.
And then they had a mad science day. So
Yeah.
that was the pastor's wife, Pastor Dave. That was his wife, and she dressed up as science, and that was him making goo, I think it was, like the slimy stuff for all the kids to play with. And here's some of the kids, I think
And you
they
can
might
see
be
that
painting or
the
something.
kids really enjoyed it because like Sabbath afternoon when we went to the church, all of the children that were at Vacation Bible School were all there to church that following Sabbath. That was a bunch of kids from the VBS program there just showing their Play-Doh or
Yeah,
whatever.
the stuff that they made, like the gooey stuff. So, and they all loved it. So there was quite a few pictures. So you can see how much fun they were having that stuff at the VBS program. So that was another little girl. That one has it all over her.
I guess he wanted to see what he looked like with a mustache.
And then that there is just a picture to show how many kids there was. So like there was like a bigger group of all of them. So that's all those pictures.
That was another VBS program there. And at a different church, like I said, they had 2 VBS programs.
Yeah.
But you could just see how happy the kids were because, and they gave them little gifts every day because people went to the dollar store and bought, I don't know what, but just little trinkets. And they gave the kids little gifts every day, and the kids just loved that, getting a little gift every day when they went to Vacation Bible School because they don't normally get stuff like that there.
And then she was
Andy's guy I worked with, his little girl, and she was the sweetest little girl. She was 8 years old, And one of the last days we went on a 27 waterfall excursion, and there was one waterfall that we are not a waterfall, a cliff we had to jump off. It was
like
over 20 feet.
And she wanted to jump off of it.
She wanted to jump. Her 8 years old, and they wouldn't let her jump.
Yeah.
She was ready and willing to
She
jump.
walked up there and asked them, and like was ready to jump, but they told her she had to go back down and like go down the little part because she wanted to. She wanted to do that high jump, but they wouldn't let her. She did all the, what was it, 27?
Yeah.
She did all 27 waterfalls. She wasn't scared of none of them, and she had a great time.
Yeah.
And I don't know, something else gross her out there, but there's them like drawing with chalk and that stuff. So they were drawing different pictures.
This was Andreas here.
Yeah, this is Christmas Eve, so like this is when all the orphans came to the nunnery place.
The resort.
And
this was Paul. He's a friend of ours from down New Jersey, but we call him New York Paul because he works in New York. So when we talk to him to Brittany, she knows him as New York Paul.
Yeah.
And Andreas, this is the little guy that I told you that he sat down and he had to have a prayer before he ate, and then he prayed for me before I ate.
And then the one in the middle, she's the lady that owns and like runs the orphanage, and then the other two, they come and help her out. I think they said like 3, sometimes 4 times a week. So like she doesn't always have helpers there, so like sometimes it's just her looking after 14 kids. And then yeah, so like those 3 came to the program that we put on Christmas Eve.
And the lady in the middle, she was brought up as an orphan, and when she was 6 years old, somebody took her into their home and raised her and gave her an education, and she became a school teacher. So when she got old enough, she wanted to give back to people that were like her as an orphan, and so she started this small orphanage, and she has 14 children now that she raises in her orphanage, and she provides them with. She has a school program and everything. Like she teaches them at school. It's a
classrooms.
Yeah, their whole life is with her, the orphanage and the school program.
And she does well with them too, because I mean, like you can just tell, like with like Andreas, like when he's going on about God and what he's learned from her and how he believes that like the Seventh-day Adventist faith is like the right faith to follow and everything else like that. Like
it's just the children are incredibly well behaved. Like when they sit down to eat, we would complain lots of times. We'd be like, "Oh, this food is disgusting." He sat down, Andreas, when he sat down with us, he ate every bite of food. Whatever they gave him to eat, he ate every bit of it. He never complained, and he would go get more. And he never complained about anything. We was there like, I don't want this, let's get rid of this. But he never did that. He ate everything.
Yeah, he never wasted a drop of it. Where like a lot of kids here, if they don't like something, they won't eat it. But he didn't waste any of it. And then that's a group of them there, like that's the orphans. They got up and sang a song for us. So that's all of them up there.
That's just a few pictures of them. That's at the Christmas Eve program that they was up singing for us.
And that's me and Dad and Andreas in front of the backdrop thing that they had there. And that's another picture.
Yeah, because they wanted people, if you brought a costume, to come dressed up like in a Christmas Eve costume of whoever your favorite Bible character or whatever.
We didn't have costumes.
No, we didn't have them, but there were lots of people there that did come dressed in costumes. That was Paul, the guy that we hung around with a lot. He sponsored Andreas, so he ended up bought all his Christmas gifts for him. And the lady of the orphanage told us afterward that this was the best Christmas for her and the children had ever had, because they usually don't have anything for Christmas, just a Christmas meal, but no gifts. And the kids were just so excited because even one kid got a little scooter, and that was like, wow, they was going out around that scooter around through the resort, and they were just loving it because they wasn't used to getting all this attention and all these things. Yeah, that was interesting again there. He was translating, Ed, he was translating for her. That was when she was telling about that was the best Christmas and stuff, and Ed was translating for her. This was just a men's group that was singing. This was Delano and his wife and his grandson Sky. And I remember when I asked him, I said, now who are you guys supposed to be for the Christmas Eve thing? He said he was Abraham and she was Sarah and that was Isaac. And I told Sky, I said, well, Isaac, I'm happy you survived that knife that Abraham had for you. That was another family group there that dressed up for the Christmas Eve thing. And that was Dr. Jeremy and his wife and 2 kids. And that was Paul and Zoe, and I don't remember that girl's name, but that Zoe had just got caught doing something bad, eating croutons or something before the meal. So they was like, this
that's
was
the picture of the orphanage.
Yeah, that's the orphanage inside of there.
And that's a picture of the beds. So you can see that they have like 2 different blankets, one on each end.
See, so one child would sleep here and one child would sleep here in a little single bed.
Yeah, it's a little single bed, and some beds had 3 kids to bed, so it's only single bed, so it's really crowded. And that was one little boy who wanted me to pick him up. He's so cute. And then this little girl here, she was the cutest little thing. Okay, I was walking to go see the outside of the backyard part of the orphanage, and she was in one of the ladies that worked there, and then when I walked by, she was like reaching out to me, and I was like, oh, okay, I'll pick you up. So I held her and I carried her around, and like we got her laughing and smiling and that stuff, and she was so cute. And it came time, like I carried her around just about the entire time we were there. And then it came time for us to go, and I had to give her back, and she did not want to go back. Like, they'd be reaching out her arms, she'd be like swatting them away and like turning over to the other shoulder. And I turned around like for them to take her again, and then she would not go to them. So then finally I had to, because Vicky, one of the group leader, like the Maranatha leader altogether, she said like, okay, we have to go because we have other stuff to do. So I had to give her back. When I gave her back, she cried so much. I felt so bad. Like I just want to take her home. That's another picture of her. And that's us at the orphanage with Andreas.
This here, I took a picture of this because this shows their church worship times. Sunday night they have a worship, and they told me that Sunday night was their worship time that they have. It's mostly for the young people, teens and young adults. And they put on the whole program, and I asked them, I said, well, other than your Sabbath services, I said, do you have very many people come to this service? And he said, every service is full. No matter what time it is, he said, all the people come to every service. And so their Sunday night program for the youth, he said that was always full, and then this was Wednesday night. And Wednesday night was their testimony night, that they would go and they would just be thankful to the Lord for what he'd done. And every person that was a member of the church came to every meeting, and they would all stand up and give a testimony of what the Lord had done for them during the week. Friday night, they would have another service, because when I talked with a guy on Skype a couple of weeks ago from there, he said to me on a Friday night, he said, why aren't you in church? I said, what do you mean? And he said, well, it's Friday night. And I said, well, why would I be in church on Friday night? He said, well, every church here has church on Friday night. I said, oh, okay. And I said, well, we don't, I guess, but they do. And I said, well, is there a lot of people to go? He said, yeah. He said, every meeting the church is full. So that's what I was saying before about the people enjoyed worshiping. So Friday nights and Saturdays, and you see what, this is Saturday. What Saturday is in Spanish? Sabado. So it's very easy to see in the King James Version, it talks about the 7th day is the Sabbath, and Sabado is Saturday there. So, and in their Spanish Bible, it doesn't call it Sabbath, it says Sabado. So when the people read it in Spanish, they would recognize immediately the 7th day is Saturday.
This is a picture of the power lines there.
This is the telephone lines. You know, here we see telephone lines, and I mean it's like 100 pair, 500 pair, whatever, all in a bundle, and then you take off from it. Well, it isn't there. It's just wires everywhere. You see all the cut-ins. When they stop using something, they just cut it off, and I don't even know how they make sense of it. And I know there's another picture of it.
That's a close-up picture of one little part of it.
There's one picture that we don't have on here that oddly showed me because he thought I'd be interested in it. No. He thought I'd be interested in it because I'm an electrician, and there was this guy on an aluminum ladder, and he was stealing power off of the transformer. He had his aluminum ladder up on the pole, and he was up there with no safety gloves. He had on just regular boots, everything, and he was cutting into the wire coming off of the transformer, standing on an aluminum ladder, and he was cutting into the wire so he could steal power off. I was like, whoa, he's not even, that I know of, he wasn't an electrician, but he's brave. Brave